Hello and welcome to Your Health in Your Hands. I'm Dr. David Ajibade, your host with the Brain and Body Foundation. And I want to welcome to you to tonight's talk. Now, my first order of business is to apologize to you, our viewers all around the country. I realize looking back, and we've been doing this now for over 5 years. We started 2018. Wow, it's over 5 years. And we've talked about so many different things, everything from cancer to heart disease, kidney problems, sickle cell disease, brain issues, dementia, and so on. But I realized that we haven't paid more attention to women issues. And from what we've seen, women are the greatest number of, they have the highest numbers. You all have the highest numbers of our viewership. And so a big apology to you. Because and the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because our guest today, I'm going to introduce her in a minute, but she is focused, along with her very busy profession, she's focused on really reaching out to help young ladies navigate very key periods of their lives, especially the puberty period, but not only that as well. That puberty obviously is when the little girl turns into a woman, if you know what I'm talking about. And these are things that everybody seems to take for granted. I was listening to her on a webinar the other day, and after she has finished talking, we just had many people come in and contribute, mostly women, talking about how when they were kids, when they're going through the same stage of life, no one, their mothers, their aunties, no one really told them what to expect. And so for some of them, it was very traumatic. They just didn't know what to do. And of course, they made a lot of mistakes. And I'm thinking to myself, for this that is so central to a woman's life, wouldn't it be great for us to have, for them to maybe come with a manual, for instance, or better yet, have the older women really understand how to broach this topic and teach the younger women, these young girls, as they're going through this period. So anyway, it was a no-brainer for me. I jumped at the opportunity to reach out to her and have her invite her to come to the show. It took a while because, like I said, she's super busy. But I can now say with a lot of joy and glee that we finally got her, we nailed her down to a time and she's here. So with that said, I want to say welcome to Dr. Ebere Azuma. And how are you doing?
Oh, hi, Dr. David Ejimade. How are you? Thank you
I'm doing
so much
well.
for Thank you so much for having me on your platform. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for the work you are doing. I heard that's your show, right? It's the number one health show in Nigeria or in Africa. Which one? Or is
Well,
Delta?
we won the award in Africa a couple of years ago. So yes, Africa, and it's pretty well viewed throughout the nation in Nigeria. So yeah, we're very proud of that, and big kudos to our viewers as well for making it happen. So thank you.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations. It's such an honor to be on this amazing show. And yes, we give kudos to our viewers, but let's also give kudos to your team because it
Oh yeah.
takes a team to make it happen. So, all the team behind your success, I want to take the time to say thank you. Right. My name is Dr. Azuma. I'm the co founder and president of, I call it one of the best organizations in the world. It's called Love Your Mentors. And I really love it. Like, I love it so much that I do it with joy. It was started in 2019 and it's about 3 years. What's the more? We
Wow.
started and what?
I said, wow, good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's more than 3 years. 29. I have to calculate. Sorry. I guess I still use that stick shape hat thing. No, it's not. It's 5 years. It's five.
2019. Going on 5 years.
Five
Interesting.
years. Oh my goodness. I mean,
But you know what that
wow.
means? That means that our show has been going on for 6 years then. And I was saying 5 years, 6 years. Okay, all right. Stand corrected. Okay. So you've been going on for 5 years.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? Please pardon me for the segue, but I'm a believer of Jesus Christ, and the part of the Bible I love is when he says you should go out and multiply and create. Some people think it's reproductive. I'm a gynecologist, deliver babies and whatnot. I get that. But it also means imaginative reproduction, like going out to create things that he's given to us, ideas that he's given to us. So it's really cool that, wow, I delivered a baby that's about 5 years now. So wow, I'm amazed. I didn't realize it's 5 years, but I love it. And I'm grateful for our team. And we started in 2019 as a conference, and now we are an organization in 8 different countries apart from the United States. I mean, we're counting, if we want to expand, there are people that want to join us. But you know what? We don't have the human capacity yet because it takes a lot of work. Like you said, even getting me to come and sit down, I have to make sacrifices because I want to meet your viewers. Your viewers are people that support our organization. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about Love Your Menses. I'm excited to talk about puberty. I'm excited to talk about menarche, which is the first state of menstruation. And it's just amazing. We started with wanting to teach young girls about menstruation. We call it menstrual equity. Now we've expanded, we've evolved. You know, as the good Lord says, go and expand. We are now actually launching a program which I don't know if your viewers will identify with. It's called Echo Menstrual Flow. We realize eco-menstrual flow is a term that my organization first teamed, and it just means focusing on menstruation and the environment, because we do know that menstrual products, especially the disposable one, affects the environment in terms of carbon production and breakdown compared to the reusable ones. We, unlike other organizations, we don't have the top-down approach. We go in and ask the community, what do you want us to do? We go in, we meet community leaders, and some community leaders prefer disposable products, right? And then some of them like reusable products. For example, we're in Abuja, Nigeria, and we wanted to launch reusable period products. And at that time, people were not open to it. They're like, what? You want me to wash, not use pads, use cups? To them, it was so foreign. And we understood we weren't going to impose, we want to give women choices. We want to give them free will. So we said, fine, since you're not comfortable yet talking about reusable products, you can use your disposable product. Well, how can we be conscientious about our environment? Our environment is changing. We have one earth that we are supposed to be good stewards of. So instead of us forcing people to adopt reusable products, we are now encouraging them to save the planet for the future. So when you come to our organization to get free pads, we give you seeds. Go plant a tree so that at least in the future, our children's children would not have devastating ecological effect because of our menstruation. We feel menstrual equity involves caring for the environment. So like I said, we are the first in the period world to have coined the word, to have even not just a word, but to create a movement. So it's really, really cool that a group of us, Black people, are leading the way. So I'm excited.
Oh, fantastic. Kudos to you. So so I see that we're going to be having you back multiple times. That's already very clear. But let's talk about some of these basic things, because already I'm seeing, all right, that you've come to Abuja before. We're in Abuja, we have tentacles throughout the north, and so I'm sure maybe in the not too distant future we'll be able to work together to help you distribute these pads to especially low income, low resource or resource poor communities, and of course the education too will be able to help probably work with you to spread the education to young ladies about how to love their menses and navigate that period. Forgive the pun. Navigate the period more effectively.
No, it is intentional. It's a pun. I like it. Yes, that's why we have the name "Loving Your Menses," which is to love yourself. Okay, go ahead.
So let's start with the basics now. What is it that people are getting wrong? I mean, why is it so important for us to educate young people, young ladies, about this event in their lives?
I mean, it's very important because an educated mind is a wise mind. The scripture talks about, people perish for lack of knowledge. A lot of us made mistakes because of lack of knowledge. One lack of knowledge we have is the effect of programming. We're programmed to appreciate a certain kind of beauty. We're programmed to want to be like another country. We're programmed to not use chewing sticks. We're programmed to not breastfeed, but to use milk. And when you get older, you realize that the programming are not consistent because it depends on who is funding things. So my point here is it's very important to be prepared for menstruation, because once you're prepared, you have a confidence. No one can take it away from you. I'll give you two examples. We work with different community. We're in Haiti, another country, but I remember when some Haitian youth, they were refugees in the United States. One young girl at the age of 13 started her period. She thought she was dying, and she was smart to think she was dying. She was bleeding from a hole, and the blood was not stopping. She was smart enough to know that when you bleed, you can hemorrhage out your blood. She thought she was dying. She didn't know what happened. She was distraught. She was screaming, asking for help. Like she's dying, she's bleeding, it's not stopping. Until someone reached out to her and explained to her what menses was, the woman's cycle, that yes, you're bleeding, you're not gonna die. It's awesome. But after a couple of days, your menses is going to stop. At least the expulsion of blood from the vagina will stop, and your cycle would continue as you welcome menarche. In contrast, those are youth that attended our program, twins, and I wish I had their picture. They were pre-menarche, so they hadn't had their period yet. But they listened as we had an intergenerational conversation about their menstruation. We even had t-shirts for them that participated. A few weeks later, they started their period. One of them wore the t-shirt to school. Love your menses. She was so proud. She was so prepared. She knew that she might have some cramping. She knew that she might have some changes in her mood. She was so prepared. She went to school, had a good day in school, came back and was excited. It was a good news. Which experience would you want? Child A that was traumatized, and we know the effect of trauma. Yes, it was short-lived, thank God, but we do know there's an increase in cortisol and just the stressors. And I think stressors cause an imprinting, and with the epigenetics, it can affect you. I do think if we can minimize trauma in kids by preparing them, by providing the right education about menstruation, we will have some healthy kids. In contrast, compared to girl B that was prepared, she went to school, she participated, and she was ready. This are the girls we want, the girls that are ready for their menses, to embrace it. When we teach the menstrual education, my group, we don't just focus on menstruation. We also focus on empowerment. We also focus on modeling behavior. We try to make these girls see that they can do great things. They can do greater things than Dr. Azuma. They can do greater things than Dr. Ajibade. They can do great things, because for some kids, some Black kids who are our main target, they do not see faces like ours. So we use their menstruation as an imprinting for them to know that, yes, I'm smart. Yes, I can do this. And yes, I'm prepared for my body.
Interesting. So, so the leap, okay, so what I'm trying to connect now is the leap between when a person has a child, is going through a menstrual period, how we shift that mindset so that they know that they're smart and that this is normal to their lives. I mean, you mentioned trauma, and you mentioned, of course, cortisol increase and all that. But this is just for a brief period of time. I'm trying to play devil's advocate now. This is just for a brief period of time now. There's something more longer lasting that is detrimental to them if they're not better prepared to go through these menses? Or are there some groups of girls who are damaged by this transition, so to speak? Well,
Very, very, very good, good points you've made. And yes, the leap might be a little bit confusing at time in the beginning, but once you take your time to reflect, you can see the connection. And in some cultures, they celebrate the becoming of a woman. It's just in our world, Western world, we don't do it. But if you look at traditional cultures, they celebrate that. Let's talk about bar mitzvah in the Jewish community, where they celebrate puberty in boys. People celebrate things. They use the normal physiology as a paradigm shift. That's exactly what we're doing. We're using the knowledge of menstruation as a paradigm shift for young girls to be empowered to know that, yes, I'm going to love my menses. And in general, I'm going to love myself, because self-love is very important, especially for Black youth, which do not have good representation in the media or in many places. We don't. So us going to schools to empower those girls are very, very important, because we know the effect of not having empowerment. It leads to low self-esteem. Low self-esteem leads to poor decisions. Low self-esteem affects your academic performance. It's just well known and well documented. So if I go there,
I'm sorry, go ahead. So if you,
okay, if I go to school, say, let me teach you about physiology, let me teach you about the menstrual cycle, let me teach you about what's going on. Great. Are you excited about your period? What do you think you want to do when you get older? What do it's just a good conversation. And during our education of the girls, these girls realize they're very smart, because they're learning about hormones of the woman's body. Some people, like myself, I didn't learn about that hormones until I was in university. But we have these 12-year-olds talking about follicular stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone. Like, it's just pretty amazing to see how intelligent they are. And when they know these big words, it also empowers them. I mean, I'm a life coach. I was once certified, but I'm well trained, and I get the training from the best. And we like to celebrate ourselves. And one way of being positive or being more successful is to celebrate small wins. Because when you celebrate small wins, now you are prepared for bigger wins. So when I'm teaching this young girl about the follicular stimulating hormones, menarche and whatnot, giving them all these quote unquote big words, those kids become so motivated. I mean, in our organizations, we've seen greatness in our girls. We've seen some of them become Miss Massachusetts. We've seen them do great, like we've seen them do great things just by being empowered. We have given examples of what is happening in Massachusetts, but let me go straight to Africa. Let me go straight to Kenya. We work with an orphanage. We do a 10 weeks STEM program called Flow Tech for Girls. I remember the first day during introduction. I remember the girl, I think her name was Grace. We said, introduce yourself. These are orphans that don't have access to things. I mean, there were like 7 of them in one bedroom, and we were connecting them with American girls. So we were teaching them how to introduce themselves, how to do an elevator pitch. And one girl, I believe I'll use the name Grace. She said, my name is Grace and I'm an orphan. And we had to say, like, okay, I know you're an orphan, but there's more to you, Grace. There's more. You're Grace what? What's your name? What do you like doing? We do know you're an orphan. First, her head was down, but by the end of the program, we love you, Zuma. Like, it was just beautiful to see the transformation. And it's so encouraging. And it's just beautiful. And I remember they sent us a message in the winter time, December. Dr. Azuma, would you guys host another program? We're off of school and we need another program. We're so excited. The confidence is just really beautiful, So I definitely would say that our organization, any programming for the youth empowers them, especially Black youth, especially vulnerable youth, makes a huge difference. I mean, not all of them have access to doctors, not all of them have access to public health professional, but we bring these professions right to their homes.
that's commendable. That's really, really commendable, especially for people, for kids in orphanages who have no role models whatsoever, or very few. So great. So the other question that came up, I don't think I've asked yet, is what do you think is the number one mistake mothers are making when with their daughters and teenage daughters to be when it comes to this topic?
What I would say the number one mistakes that I have encountered is mothers are scared to have that conversation because
Mm.
they do not understand menstruation. They do not love their menses. They have been traumatized from their menstruation. I do remember one time we were having a menstrual workshop at the Boston Public Library in collaboration with Mayor Wu, women's organization in Boston. And a young lady comes to us and we were teaching her about menstruation. And we told her that menarche can happen at about age 12. And she's like, I have a 10-year-old girl. You're telling me in 2 years she can get pregnant. We're like, hold on now. Like literally, like, when did we talk about pregnancy and menstruation? Yes, people connect the two. They're important phase, right? So we have the pre-reproductive phase and the reproductive phase. Yes, it's part of it, but there's more to it. Why focus on that one, pregnancy? So there's a fear in
Yeah, but I mean,
mothers.
it's true though. Once the menarche occurs, you can't get pregnant, and we see a lot of that in certain parts of Nigeria where they have child brides, so to speak, and they get pregnant and with all the complications that ensue from that.
Yes, it's true, but it's not the whole picture. There are many women that are not child brides. So yeah, we get it, but menstruation is not the same thing as pregnancy. They are two different things. Menstruation is just a cycle that occurs, and you just want to get your daughters prepared. And then once they understand that, you can then add the precautionary advice about getting pregnant. But don't be so scared that your baby will get pregnant that you don't give them this important information. We have a pediatrician on our board, Dr. F. Young, and we always remind parents that if you don't talk about it, we have digital age. They're going to learn about their menstruation from someone else. And the information that they might teach your daughter might not be the information you want. So it's
Yeah.
very important to take the time and teach your children. Okay. This digital age is not like our parents' age, whereby we just hope our kids turn out right. When you want your kids to turn out right, you have to have conversation with them. You have to earn their trust. And what is the best way of earning their trust but by talking about something so intimate, like, let's talk about your menstruation. It's really cool. It's really a beautiful time to connect with your kid. It's a beautiful time, not just for the child in terms of paradigm shift, but it's also a beautiful time for the parents to shift their relationship. If you're not one to have conversation with your child, it's a good time to start. Because remember, babies, this young girl starts menarche at age 12. And let's say they're going to leave your house in the United States, they tend to do at age 18. You have 6 years to build a relationship. Because when they leave the house, that relationship that you've built is what grows. We see in the United States the discordance in relationship between parents and their children. And the truth is, those people that have successful relationship do have one because they build a culture of conversing with your kids. Conversing with them doesn't mean that they would disrespect you. You just have to learn to set boundaries. But you being their confidant is very amazing. I do have friends of mine, they're in their 40s, they still call their parents before they make major decisions. This relationship wasn't cultivated in their 20s. This
Yeah.
relationship was cultivated when they were 10 years old or before. A
Right.
lot of, parents complain, my kids don't talk to me, they don't call me. If you haven't cultivated that relationship, the generations we have do not think they owe you any call. In the
Absolutely.
past,
Yeah.
people had the obligation to call their parents because of the nature. But now people travel, people form new communities. So to be honest, menses is a gift given to us by the maker for us to have a conversation, a good relationship with our daughters.
Okay, great. So two questions that come up, and I see we're almost beginning to run out of time, but I do want to have these questions in. Um, one could argue that you are sort of romanticizing this whole experience. We, however,
Yes.
know that there are some kids, some girls, who is very traumatic. By traumatic, I don't mean the emotional aspect alone. I'm talking about the actual very painful and very traumatic to very traumatic experience, as opposed to others where it's just a blood flow. So how do you handle such cases? And number two, the other question is, what role do fathers have to play in all this? We've been talking about mothers all this time, but I think we also need to talk about fathers as well.
Wow. Very, very, very good, important question. The first one, let me address is the fathers. You know, I always tell people this. Our main supporters or surprising supporters are the men. I'm telling you, even on my team, the most dedicated people are the men. Because when they understand what a woman goes through, there's some empathy. They become champions. So I love when fathers are involved because, again, it strengthens their relationship with their daughters, but it also strengthens their relationship with other women. So we love to teach fathers. We have a program called Men for Menstruation, whereby we teach them about the menstruation and how to support their daughter that is menstruating, especially that daughter that you said has very painful period. We call it dysmenorrhea. That is really, really painful. Our organization, Love Your Menses, does touch on the pathology associated with menstruation. We have to. This organization is run by a gynecologist, so it will make no sense if we do not bring that up. But when we bring that up, we normalize it for the girl. We make her know that she's not alone. There's something, again, psychology. There's something when you think you're the only one going through it versus when you know other people are going through it or went through it. We also encourage them to go see a gynecologist so that they can fix it. Maybe their dysmenorrhea could be cured by taking what we call in America ibuprofen. I don't know what they call it in Nigeria. Maybe they just need that. Maybe they need to be placed on birth control to regularize their cycle. So they're simple things that solves most of those problems. However, if the Love Your Menses or the menstruation conversation is not held, these girls might be suffering in silence. So we love to talk about it. We love to give hope to that person that suffers from their menses, that there's hope. There's hope. But when we don't bring that awareness, this person suffers in silence. And when
Well,
people
I
suffer,
agree. I agree that whatever anybody's going through, having the right attitude, which comes from knowledge and better insight into the issue at hand, having the right attitude always lessens the blow or the severity of the pain or the experience that you're going through. So I agree with that completely. That just educating people, especially beforehand, before the menarche, before the child experiences that first blood flow, is super important. But even if they've not been educated before that happens, having someone explain to them what is happening when it happens too can also help as well, right?
yes, doc. Yes, doc. Yes, yes, yes.
Because
Definitely.
we as guys, I remember in military school, I remember seeing, I was informed too. I saw the book, and there were no girls. It was all boys school. Unfortunately, I don't know what my parents were thinking, sending me to an all boys school. Anyway, so I saw
To
the
keep you
book.
focused.
Yeah, keep me focused exactly at 10 years of age or 11, 10 years of age. Anyway, so I saw
Yes.
the book. It was the book for the Form 1 boys. And it was explaining how the reproductive system works and how sex works and how babies are born. And I got to tell you, up until that point in time, I always thought when a man and woman gets married, they just have babies automatically. I didn't think there was any other kind of exchange or physical contact. I mean, I never really thought about it. So even guys were not really taught. I mean, maybe in my case, I was super special. My parents were super special. They kept me from knowing that. But I would argue that other boys too probably didn't know. I didn't know until I saw it in the book of the class below me that they were having it. So I think there's a lot to be said to really prepare your kids before time. Teach them about the birds and the bees in a non-threatening, wholesome way before they find out about it on the internet, like you said.
Or from a predator.
Or from a predator, exactly. Some creep, some dirtbag looking around in the internet, and there are lots of them out there, unfortunately.
Studies have shown when we talk about, experiences of children in terms of domestic violence, when kids know about their body parts, that deters predators from coming to them. Predators prefer people that are not knowledgeable, right? Because they can now interject false information to the young child. So the more the child knows what the vagina is, the penis is, they know that they converse with somebody and they're more likely to say something. So it's very important from the very beginning to teach children about their body parts, about privacy, because it really helps. It really, really does.
And
their
boundaries too. And boundaries.
boundaries.
Yes,
Yeah.
people, they can't be having another like I mentioned, creep of a man trying touching parts of their body that they should not be touching.
Men, there are
Even if
women too. There are women. You're like, we don't, yeah, there are women too. I do have a co-worker of mine, colleague of mine to be correct, that was molested as a kid by a woman. And that person has suffered. Some people don't realize, like, when an older woman molests a young boy, it could have a negative effect because that friend struggles to keep a job, went to school as a pharmacist, gets fired from one place to the other because of the emotional trauma. So it's not just, the opposite, an older man or a creepy man, like you call it, and a girl. It could be the reverse because I've seen that. At least I have a case.
wow, so unfortunate. All right, Doc, a couple of things. One, what are the other topics that when we have you back, what are we going to be discussing in the next 2 or 3 episodes of this show?
All right. I would love to talk about loving your menopause, because I do think, again, that's another phase with a lot of stigma. A lot of people do not, especially women, men have been programmed that when you get older, you get wiser, you get wealthier, you get more women. So it's all plus, 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 plus for men with their silver beard and silver hair. But for women, it's not the same. A lot of women have problems mentally reaching menopause and finding value. So again, to us, when we think about loving your menses or love your menses, it's all the same. It's like loving yourself, because if you really love yourself, you embrace the changes. Like, if you truly do, you embrace the changes and you welcome that phase in life of getting older, because as you get older, you get so wise. I mean, I would not trade
True.
my 30-year-old self for myself right now. I made a lot of blunders. I would not want to be 30s again. Not at all. I embrace being older because it's beautiful. I am wiser. I am more patient. And I'm more cunning now than I was in my 30s.
You're more more wise to the ways of the world, right?
Correct.
Like,
That's it. Yes. Like, you can't fool me again, In your 30s, you're trying to figure everything out, like, so the truth is, I want everybody to love themselves. If it's when you're getting your menses, awesome. But also when you're transitioning into a different part of being human, being a
okay,
woman, I'm no longer
menopause,
menstruating. Yes.
menopause. Then what else?
And then let's talk about the environment. I know your listeners are not into the environment, but it's very important that we know about the environment, because, like, the environment starts with your body, right? So we want you to love your body, your health, and we also want us to love the earth as well, so that no matter what your beliefs are, I'm a Christian, I do believe, that God is going to come one day. But before God comes, we have a duty to keep our planet as healthy. Again, I'm talking about in a balanced form. I'm not talking about don't use anything, but just to be good steward in a balanced way.
Totally agree, 100%. All right. How can people benefit from what you do, especially those of us living in low resource, low income areas who may want to say, yes, I need this for my daughters. How can we benefit from this?
All right. Thank you so much for allowing me to share on my website. So it's Love Your Menses. Like if you go type Love Your Menses, on Google, you'll find us. Please, it's not Love Your Men, but we encourage that as well. I do remember one time I had a t-shirt called Love Your Menses. I think I had a jacket on. This man with his beautiful bride was like, look at that t-shirt, honey. Look at that. Love your men. I'm like, wait.
No,
Love
it's not
your
your
men.
man.
I was like, oh, love your men, but it's like menses. So love your menses. You Google us, you can reach out to us. We do have a book, a children's book. Like if you're not comfortable yet having that conversation, it's called Maya Learns About Menstruation. It's just a conversation with me as one of the character and Maya as a Black young girl navigating menstruation. So, and then we also have different programs. We're launching our third cohort called Flow Tech for Girls. I love it. That's where we have the intercultural exchange where your daughter from the United States can mingle with kids virtually, right? In Kenya, mingle with kids in Liberia, mingle with kids in Ghana, mingle with kids in Nigeria. So we want them to come together and learn. They're going to be learning so much technology. We are also going to be teaching them artificial intelligence, how to advocate, how to become a leader, how to love themselves in spite of if they are not well represented. Because it doesn't matter who represents you. What matters is you represent yourself.
100%. Is any of this happening in Nigeria? Because I've heard you say Haiti, I've heard you say Kenya. What are you doing for us in Nigeria?
All right. So virtually Nigerians can tune in, but we're this month in Abuja, I'll send you the information. We're going to be planting trees for Earth Month, Earth Day. We're going to be out there planting trees, and we're going to be exchanging pads for trees, or vice versa, like for trees. Yeah.
So
So
you're
we're doing it.
distributing pads as well?
Say that again.
Would you be distributing pads?
Yes. So when you get the pad, you're going to go plant a tree. So that,
Perfect.
we're giving you disposable pads so that you can plant a tree, so that 40 years from now, our kids will have, food because the ecosystem is well balanced.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Azuma, for your time today. What you've shared has been fantastic and very, very, very valuable. And I'm sure mothers and fathers will take this information and use it intelligently and use it to great benefit for their kids.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. David. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Looking forward to having you come back again. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you've gained something. Remember, our shows are every week at 2:30 in the afternoon. And I believe we have some on Wednesdays. I believe we also have a Saturday show because one of our viewers reached out to me to say they want us to watch our program on a Saturday. And I was like, really? So I guess it's on Saturdays as well. Please send in your comments. You can reach us on social media. We are Brain and Body Foundation on all the platforms, all the regular platforms. And you can find me, Dr. David Ajibade, on all the regular platforms. So just send us a text, a tweet, whatever, and we'll be sure to get back with you. God bless. Take care. See you next week. Bye.